If you were anywhere near Twitter following the Mexican Grand Prix, chances are you would have seen the huge number of rumours that exploded from the F1 paddock. With Sergio Perez crashing in his home race, there were reports that his future had been decided and an unusual candidate was lined up to replace him. Perez's nightmare in Mexico. If you ask Sergio Perez which race in the F1 schedule would he want to win the most, it's pretty obvious what his answer would be: Mexico. Since his homeland returned to the calendar in 2015, Perez has finished on the podium twice but has never been quite able to win the race. Arriving in Mexico City, he looked more determined than ever to do so, but perhaps it was his determination that led to his downfall. After an excellent start to the race, Perez was 3 wide with Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen going into the first corner, but the home favourite was the one to pay the price. Perez turned in on Leclerc, clipping his front wing and sending the Red Bull car up into the air. The thud with which it hit the ground was what caused the most damage, and even though Perez was able to limp it back to the pits, the team decided the floor was too damaged to continue. It was a dreadful way to end his home race, and with Daniel Ricciardo performing excellently, it heaped even more pressure on Perez's seat. F1 rumours began to swirl. The social media world of F1 was set ablaze on Sunday, not by Perez's crash, but a tweet from one of the paddock journalists. With the dust still settling on the race, Spanish journalist Albert Fabrega tweeted, "I don't want to believe the rumour that they just told me now in the paddock. No." Which got everyone speculating as to just what he was referring to. Fabrega refused to elaborate, meaning a whole host of theories emerged on what he could be referencing. The most obvious of them, given Fabrega's nationality, was that it was related to fellow Spaniard Fernando Alonso, and such was the tone of the tweet that you could even think the 2-time world champion was considering retirement. That particular thought has seemingly been dismissed, but Alonso was involved in another rumour, one that could have even bigger implications. Alonso to Red Bull. It's no secret that as Alonso competes in the twilight years of his career, he's still just as hungry for success as he was in his early days. He thought he could achieve that at Aston Martin, but the team's nosedive in terms of performance this year has reportedly got him reconsidering. Another Spanish journalist, Antonio Lobato, suggested the perfect move would be to Red Bull. He said, "Everyone is interested in testing pilots with Verstappen because it's fun to see where the limit is, who can get closer, who can put him against the ropes." A few weeks ago, a name emerged on social media, which was about making a change, the magic swap, which was to put Fernando in Red Bull and bring Checo Perez back to Aston Martin. And I think a little fueled by the words of Helmut Marko, saying that the only one who could bring a bit of equality to things would be Fernando to Max Verstappen. It would be nice. Imagine the experience against the youth. Also, 2 drivers who look quite similar. Lobato is correct that this is a situation that even Red Bull senior advisor Helmut Marko has put forward. Speaking on replacing Perez, Marko said, "We just don't have any alternatives, otherwise he might have a problem. At the moment, I only see one person who could come close to keeping up with Max, Fernando Alonso." So, could a move for Alonso actually be on the cards? Sadly, it seems no. Sky reporter denies Alonso rumours. Craig Slater is another reporter in the know due to his role working for the sport's biggest broadcaster, Sky Sports, and according to him, Alonso to Red Bull is not going to happen. He said, "My understanding is that it's a non-starter. It's not going to happen. As much as they admire Alonso and what he can do, he's not above Ricciardo, as far as I understand it, as an option to drive for that team next year. This is not coming officially from the team, but it's not going to happen. Some senior and well-placed people have told me that maybe Alonso's management have been doing their due diligence again and assessing whether there are any better options for him next year. Perhaps that's been inflated into a he's going to take Perez's seat rather than Ricciardo." So it once again seems the most likely candidate for Perez's seat than the Mexican himself is Daniel Ricciardo. Perez Sr. denies rumours. While there is a lot of negativity surrounding Perez at the moment, there is one man you could always count on to be a wave of positivity, and that's Antonio Perez Garibay, more commonly known as Sergio Perez's dad. Perez Sr. has always been the biggest cheerleader of his son, so much so that he said he would not return to Mexico until he won the world title, and Perez's father has been clearing up the rumours. He said, "Of course Checo will be driving with Red Bull next year. The Perez family and the Red Bull family are one. How do I see him on the weekend on his home Grand Prix? He's always had the same approach and only needs one thing, to win," he added when speaking to Sky Italia. "He has the mentality of a champion. Checo, Verstappen and Red Bull are a family, but they all work for success." So, the Perez camp seems to think that there is no truth in the rumours, but what about Red Bull themselves? Red Bull say one thing, but do they mean another? Of the two senior Red Bull staff, Christian Horner has always been the more supportive, but it seems even he is starting to lose faith. Following Perez's crash, Horner laid out what Perez must do from now on until the end of the year. He said, "He has 3 races now to convert that second place. There's 20 points between him and Lewis. He's had some issues and misfortune, but we still believe he can do it. He's a tough operator, and that's why he's in the car. He'll brush himself down and turn it into motivation. He'll have the full support of the team to achieve something that we've never done before." But even if he fails to do that, Horner still would not say that would cause Perez to be sacked, suggesting it's not a binary thing. The Red Bull boss said, "You have to look at the circumstances and so on. Checo has an agreement with us for next year, and it's our intention for him to be in the car in 2024. We'll give him all the support we can to ensure he finishes second. But there is no prerequisite that if he doesn't finish second, you're out." Red Bull senior advisor Marco has often criticised Perez, but he too has repeatedly said Perez will be in the seat for 2024. The Austrian said, "How many times do I have to repeat this? Checo has a contract for 2024 and that will happen. He had a super weekend until the first lap of the race, and I'm convinced that he would have been on the podium without the collision." But it was another comment that Horner made that had many wondering if Perez's time was up, and that was in relation to Ricciardo. In Mexico, Ricciardo qualified 4th before holding on to an impressive 7th in the AlphaTauri, scoring his first points of the year and reminding everyone what he can do. Daniel fully endorsed the reason why we brought him back. Horner said with a huge smile after the race in Mexico, "I thought he was outstanding this weekend, fighting a Mercedes with an AlphaTauri. A great performance from him, and he looked like the Daniel of old this weekend." The phrase Daniel of old should be what really scares Sergio Perez, because that same Daniel of old was once good enough for the Red Bull seat, and perhaps he'll soon be given the chance to show he's good enough once again. As always, thanks for watching this video, and let us know in the comments if you think Sergio Perez will still be in the Red Bull car in 2024, and if not, who do you think will take his place? In the meantime, like the video and be sure to click subscribe so you never miss a release here on the DRS Straight.